Okay, so people always ask me, in what process from step one to the last step does a hacker actually go after an individual or a company or an organization? How does it really look? What are the steps starting from the beginning to the end? Now, a lot of stuff I'm going to leave out. A lot of stuff I'm not going to be able to actually put in this video because YouTube will take it down, and I can't show you every single step in order to actually do this because it's against YouTube's terms of agreement and policy. If you want to see every single step with no missing steps and no missing information, and for me to teach you how to use Kali Linux, how to install Kali Linux, how to install VirtualBox in order to run and install Kali Linux, how to use Linux and Linux commands and operate the terminals and all that stuff. Seems crazy, but if I can do it, you can do it. But if you're interested in actually learning how to do this for real, you can join my Patreon and you can become a member, and there's 3 different memberships, and then you can access the actual video content that I put in there, and you can also be able to communicate with me directly, and I can help you step by step get set up. That's the system that I have in place. It also filters out a lot of the people that aren't serious and people that are just trying to, quickly and easily learn how to hack so that they can, do malicious things. And this type of power in the wrong hands can obviously be a bad thing. So I'm not going to make it that easy, right? So the people that are dedicated to learning security penetration testing and ethical hacking, um, they're going to join my course, they're going to join my Patreon, and then they're going to be able to engage with me, and I'll be able to set them up and help them do this stuff. And they'll be able to access the full video content of, how to actually do this. But I am showing you exactly how this is done, but I'm not showing you how to install these tools and how to install Kali Linux and VirtualBox in order to get to this point. Because you need to know Linux commands in order to operate these terminals to use these tools. It's not just like Windows where you can just open a program and run it and you can use these tools and hack things. That's not how it really works in real life. It took me 11 years of technical, you know, effort, let's just put it that way, to get to this point. You know what I mean? And you would basically have to learn an entirely new language called Linux and learn Linux commands in order to operate these terminals and stuff. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, I know Linux. Yeah, you do know Linux, but Kali Linux is a much different thing than just Linux. Now, it is similar, obviously. It still is Linux operating system, but Kali Linux is specifically designed for security penetration testers or cybersecurity professionals that use these operating systems in order to test for weaknesses in networks, vulnerabilities in devices, networks, and everything to do with the internet. It's basically the tool that's used by law enforcement, FBI, CIA, in order to penetrate networks, devices, and hack. This is the official operating system. This is what is really used. And if anybody is claiming to be a hacker or doing anything that is involving security penetration testing or hacking, if they're not using Kali Linux, it's not legitimate. If they're using a command prompt in a Windows operating system, they're not a hacker, and command prompts can't be used in order to hack devices, regardless of how convincing and amazing that it looks when you're watching these videos on YouTube of somebody on a Windows computer in their command prompt acting as if they're actually doing something that involves hacking, which is fake. It's false. You can't hack anything with a Windows terminal. You need Kali Linux in order to do that. And I'll prove it to you, and I'll display that to you, right? Some other weirdos would disagree with me on that, which just shows me that their technical capacity isn't, anywhere near mine, right? If they're still using a command prompt in a Windows operating system, that's laughable to somebody that actually does this for real. But anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a company or an organization as an example. Now, a little disclaimer. It is illegal to try and hack a website or any individual or any company, organization, or any entity outside of your own devices and your own networks, it's illegal to try and hack anybody or any company. Um, so that being said, this is for educational purposes and information purposes only. Uh, and what people do with this information and this knowledge, I don't take accountability for, and I can't, because people can use this information to do bad, and people can use this information to do good and actually help companies and people secure their networks and their devices, which is something that I'm trying to do, ethically. I made this course and I want to teach people how to secure themselves and also how to protect themselves. And the best way in order to protect yourself or secure yourself is to actually see in real life how hackers actually gain access and penetrate into your devices and networks. If you can't see that aspect of the attack, you know it exists in the back of your head, but you can't really see all the different variables involved that are coming at you when an attacker is trying to infiltrate you. And then on top of it, if you don't have this knowledge and don't know how it all actually works in real life, it, it kind of leaves you in a state of fear and panic, because knowledge is power. Without knowledge, you have fear. People fear what they don't understand. They fear the unknown. So all you can do is be scared and paranoid and thinking that all the time you're being hacked, and uh, you know you've been infiltrated, and you see a glitch on your screen, and all of a sudden now you think you've been hacked and you're freaking out, you're deleting all your stuff, you're breaking your operating system. That's not the right way to operate, and not the right way to be if you consider yourself to be any type of an intellectual being or a conscious human being, uh, in any way, shape, or form. So if you really are a conscious, intellectual being, instead of being in a state of fear and panic and unknown, just thinking and assuming, you're going to actually have the technical analysis to be able to determine if your phone has been hacked, if your laptop is hacked, if your home Wi-Fi network is hacked. And in this course and in my Patreon, I show all of those things: how to hack Wi-Fi, how to hack an Android phone, how to hack a Windows laptop with just a USB stick, not to mention just downloading a file and opening it on it. How to hack Mac OS with uh, an application that looks like a PDF. How to do Wi-Fi, how to track somebody from them clicking a link. And the reason why I'm showing these things is to show you of how somebody could use all these strategies and methods to actually trick you and socially engineer you into falling for these things. And I know what you think: oh, well, I'll never fall for that shit because I don't click a link and I don't download this and that. Well, you would be actually shocked on the power of social engineering, because I guarantee you I could put you in a situation myself that would force you, even know that you know about this stuff, to have to click or open a link or a file. And you think, how could that be possible? Well, it is possible because we have obligations and we have things that we rely on. For example, your rental management. You have an apartment, you rent, you have a landlord, and you have a rental management, right? You know what the name of your rental management is if you rent. This is just an example. I'll give you several more. But I could spoof an email that says the exact same email as your rental management's email, and then I could take an email from them, from subscribing to their email uh, list, or whatever you want to call it. When you subscribe or you email them and they email you back a template, you can copy paste that template and use their legitimate template or email that they use to communicate with their tenants. And then you can create that email, that template, and then you can spoof their email to make it appear as if it is literally coming from their email. There's no way to determine otherwise. So now you would be in a weird jam. And now I know you're thinking, oh, there's so many ways out of that, and oh, I would just see the email and I would contact my landlord or management on my own instead of via through that email, which is a good idea. But when you're in a panic and you see something like you're overdue or an eviction notice with, uh, you know, um, a document that needs to be signed, and uh, an appeal document if you appeal to this decision, stuff like that. Or I could text you from, I could hack your mom's phone and text you from her phone number with a link or with some type of a file. Hey son, can you fill this out for me? I need help doing this. I just need you to sign it, or just whatever. Like, I'll that's to be discussed and to be determined what way. After you study an individual, you know how they communicate with their loved ones, and then you learn them and you learn how they communicate, and then you um, copy that. You know what I mean? And you can infiltrate somebody's life in that way. And it's crazy that people will do this. They will. Hackers have the ability to do this. It's called social engineering. They will study you. They will do recognizance for years on you until they've mastered your character, who you are, who your family is, who your mother is, who your father is, and then they will execute their attack based off of information that they gathered, that they know that you have to respond to, or that you will respond to, because it's coming from a trusted source, from a trusted phone number, from a trusted email, from a trusted entity, and it's in an urgent manner that puts you in a very serious predicament, that you're like, oh, now I have to click this link, I have to figure this out. I have to see if this document needs to be signed. This could be an eviction notice. I have to look at this and respond to this document. Um, this is my place of employment that's contacted me and sent me a document to sign. Uh, and maybe the attacker knew, because you just said on your Facebook, hey, I just got a new job and I'm currently, filling out the documents or going through the process of finally being, whatever, right? Now that attacker sees that and uses that to their advantage, and then they figure out who you got employed to from, and then they send you an email from their email or from their phone number to hack one of the employees and contact you. They can even use AI text to voice generator and clone the voice of your employer, and then have a whole system around that. Like, there's so many ways, you would be just shocked. It can go, and that's nothing. Just what I said right there is not that impressive, but you can imagine using your own head now. Start thinking about how you think you could do that better, or how you could socially engineer. It's possible, and you have confidence in yourself. People have flaws, they make mistakes. Um, that's just a sad reality. So, anyways, I'm rambling on now. Um, I just want to show you, in this video, how an attacker would go after a company. And the company that I'm using, right? Like I said, it's illegal to go to try to do this against a company without authorization or permission. But there is a gray area. But I'm not telling you that it's okay to do this, and I'm not saying that you should. I'm saying that you shouldn't, because it's against the law, and you shouldn't do it, and you shouldn't um, take everything that I do, you know, as something for you to do, basically. So my point being is, scammers, right? People that scam people. Um, I don't I don't have any moral I don't have anything telling me morally that I shouldn't hack a scammer, even if it's illegal. Um, the law doesn't do very much to help with stuff like that. Anyways, I feel like they're failing and they don't really respond. They don't really care, and scammers, just even out of India, are making, actually hundreds of millions of dollars scamming Canadians and Americans every single year, like hundreds of millions of dollars. So somebody's got to do something, right? There is a group of gray hat hackers that, normally would be white hat or just legal, right? They're not criminals and they're not breaking law, but they've made a moral decision to go after certain entities for obvious reasons. So this church, first of all, I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God, and I'll just be honest with you. The Bible does not condone, neither does God, neither does Jesus Christ condone what is happening around, you know, um, stuff of this nature, right? The any church that any church that claims to be involved in LGBTQ activities or communities is a false entity, right? And the Bible warns us about this and talks about these churches that have been infiltrated by the enemy Satan and flipped for Satan's purpose. And this would be one of them because this is what they're participating in, which is blasphemy. So I am going to use this website as an example. Um, and I don't feel bad about that. So we have a website, right? So in this instance, we're going after an entity rather than an individual, but there are individuals associated with this entity that we could further enumerate or do recognizance and find out who these people are that are operating this entity or this website. We can start there. So this is a company, right? Calgary Unitarians.ca, which apparently is a church that is enabling, basically pedophilia. And that's not even my opinion, that's just fact. And there's information that we have obtained here. Isn't that interesting? So we have a Gmail. So that's really interesting because if we can gain access to the Gmail, we can gain access to this website, which is, by the way, a WordPress website because I enumerated it and I found that out. So we already have a Gmail. And with a Gmail, if you gain access to a Gmail, if somebody gains access to your Gmail, um, they have now access to everything, your Facebook, your online banking, everything, because your Gmail is connected to everything. And they can just reset all your passwords to your Gmail and then get onto all your accounts. And there's ways to do it without you even noticing it. But here we have also a business email. So we have like everything we need to completely infiltrate this website. Copy the email address, right? So hold on, I'm jumping the gun here. So now we got 2 emails and we got a phone number. So how do we start this process? We take the website. Okay, we're in Kali Linux here. Now I'm using a tool called WP Scan. You can Google it. You can ask ChatGPT what it is. But again, if you think that you're gonna somehow get Kali Linux, somehow install WP Scan, which you're not going to be able to do because you need the technical skills and you need to know Linux commands and how to install Linux tools, whether that's Python or it's Bash. You have to know these things and you don't. You most likely don't. And even with the average common knowledge, what I'm doing, the things that I'm doing are a little bit more advanced. And even the average person that even has Kali Linux that kind of just knows a little bit of what they're doing is probably not going to be fully able to do this because, for one, in this scenario with WP Scan, you need an API, and the average individual is not going to even know how to get that API in order to use WP Scan in the first place. But what I'm going to demonstrate here, this command is basically scanning that website for the usernames. The -E stands for enumerate and the U stands for usernames. So I'll hit enter. It's updating the database, WP Scan right now. And what it's going to do is it's going to find the administrator usernames to that website. And those are not displayed on the website. They're hidden. But with that information, sometimes people will use their real first and last names for usernames for a website. And this is how an attacker is going to find out who is behind the website and behind the company if the website they're using is a WordPress website. With other websites, this is not possible to do, to enumerate administrator usernames from a website. So right now it is enumerating the users. While that's doing that, I'm going to run this tool called detect, and it's going to give me the IP address and tell me the server that the WordPress website is running on, which is Nginx, however you would like to pronounce that. And it's powered by PHP, this version of PHP, which is information that could also be used to gain access to this website, which, by the way, another disclaimer, I am not attempting to gain access to this website. I'm only enumerating which is legal. Where it becomes illegal is when you try to gain access to this website with the information that you enumerated and you try to attack the website in any way. And that's usually through brute force or a phishing attack. That's where the line is drawn. That's where it becomes illegal. It is not illegal to enumerate a website and get usernames from a website, even if the usernames alone aren't able to be found. It's a flaw in a WordPress website. It's not a stealing of information or a revealing of information. It's just a flaw, and it's not exploiting the flaw. This is just enumeration. So, anyways, we found the usernames. We go up here, and we can see right here, users identified. Now, the first username is Office, so that's probably the administrator. One of the administrator usernames to log into the website. Now, Chris McBain, that's probably the administrator that's behind this user name right here that logs into the website. These are all usernames that can be used to log in as administrators to this website. So now here is Christopher again. That tells me that he's definitely the admin, or at least the person that controls this website. We're getting closer. It said Chris McBain. Now we see his full name, Christopher McBain. Now we can find an individual and we can further our information gathering and recognizance on this individual and further infiltrate this entity because this person is behind it. Now we have another individual right here. And then we got Chris Bain again, Mitch, Naomi, Rain again, Rebecca, and those are all the usernames to this website. Now I could go further and I could find vulnerabilities in the plugins in this WordPress website, right? And to do that, I would just take away the enumerate usernames and I'll run that. And in the meantime, we have an IP address that we can now run nmap against. And what nmap is going to do is it's going to scan this IP address, which is the IP address of the website, and it's going to search to see if there's any open ports. And on those open ports, it's going to see if those services that are running on those open ports, like SSH, FTP, it's going to see if they're vulnerable or if they have any vulnerabilities, known vulnerabilities that can be exploited, right? So I'm going to run that nmap scan and let that do its thing. Now this is just scanning that WordPress website to see if there's any vulnerable plugins. Now I'm showing you step by step what I would do, right? Or not what I would do, what what a hacker would do in general if they were going after a target, if that were to be a company starting with the website. Now we've already found information about individuals behind that website that we can now target. We could go on Facebook, look these people up. We could there's a number of things that can be done. That I'll do another video. I'll do a part 2, but also, again, this is a good reason to join my Patreon and actually join my course, because you're going to see all of the missing information on how to do this stuff and how to learn these things and how to protect yourself, how to secure your devices, your networks, how to secure yourself as an individual so that it's not possible for this to happen to you. See, these people made mistakes, security mistakes that could lead to their demise. Even if the attacker wanted to harm one of these individuals, they have first and last names of these people. They could find them and they could find their social media or email and then send them an email or a message and get them to click a link. And if they click the link, it'll tell the attacker their location, their IP address, what phone they're using and what version of the phone they're using, and what their ISP phone provider is. That's a lot of information. and then that information could now be used to further infiltrate that individual or people around them. Okay, like get into their phone, because now you could pose as their ISP phone provider, send them a text message that looks like it's coming from their phone provider, stating, "Hey, thanks for being a loyal customer. Here's 10 gigabytes of free data this month. Enjoy." Or, "Hey, you didn't pay your bill," or, "Hey, you're behind 360 something dollars." Whatever. Like, we'll figure out something to get you to react, right? Type of a thing, right? Metaphorically speaking, coming from the perspective of an attacker. So, anyways, this WordPress. So, yeah, it has some vulnerabilities: collapse, expand, and then you can. So these are two vulnerabilities in the plugins, in a specific plugin called Show, Hide, Collapse, Expand. It's a function of a plugin in the WordPress website. Then it gives you the CVE, which tells you more information about that vulnerability and possibly how it might be exploited. Same thing with this. Here's another vulnerability in the plugin called Jetpack, right? Authenticated contributor clickjacking via iframe injection. That's not good. Improper authorization via WP scan, so on and so forth. Tons of vulnerabilities. Author arbitrary file manipulation via API. That's crazy. And by the way, these are really, like, the thing about vulnerabilities in WordPress plugins. They're very, very difficult to exploit unless you're a seriously advanced hacker. I mean, a lot of this stuff I wouldn't even be able to exploit. Information disclosure. That's interesting. But look at all these vulnerabilities. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's pretty bad. Wow. Anyways. Oh, wow. Class jetpack access control bypass. Wow. And here's the thing. You want to see something fucking crazy. Now, viewers' discretion, is advised, because, we're all adults here, so that's why I am speaking the way I am, but excuse me if you don't like that language. What you can do is the power of ChatGPT, right? I paid for ChatGPT 4, by the way. And you can just ask ChatGPT. You can just type in this vulnerability, and it will literally tell you what the vulnerability is and how it could potentially be exploited, right? So people don't realize there's a way to trick ChatGPT, by the way, and I paid for ChatGPT 4. There's a way to trick it into getting it to write you code and do things and write exploits and do things that it'll tell you that it's not allowed to do. I know how to do that, by the way. Join my Patreon course. Yeah. So, anyways, here's the website. Gotta get back on track here. So let's continue down the rabbit hole, right? We're done with the WordPress. After this, now I could brute force these usernames. I'm not going to demonstrate that because that's where it becomes illegal, obviously. But, the usernames that I enumerated, now I can brute force attack those usernames with another tool. Well, actually, sorry, with the same tool, WP scan does this brute force attacks to a username with a word list of over 14 million common passwords that have been dumped from data leaks, database leaks from Facebook, Yahoo, AOL, whatever, Indeed. All the major platforms at one point in time were hacked, and the passwords, usernames, and emails of the people were dumped on a mass scale and then sold on the dark web. Now, those leaked databases or those passwords have been gathered from hackers on the dark web and put into a text document uh, in order to be used in a brute force attack against a username, or in this case, against a user in a WordPress website. So you got 14 plus million chances of finding the one of those usernames passwords if they use a common password or not, which they may and they may not. You'd be surprised how many people do. So we're running an nmap, right? So, but one of the things I want to do real quick is I want to show you how to get more information out of the emails that we found real quick. And then I'll get to the nmap scan, which is going to be further trying to get into the website, trying to break into the website, which obviously after I find the ports, that's where I have to stop, because after that it becomes illegal if I try to actually gain entry. So what this tool is doing is, oops, I used the wrong email. It was an older email that I was trying out to a scam website that likes to scam people. So we go here, copy the email, paste it, and what this is going to do is it's going to search to see if there's any more emails connected to this domain, which is calgaryunitarians.ca. So it'll find all the business emails attached to that website and it'll list it for us. It'll also tell us if that email's been involved already in a data leak. Wow. Okay. So we got some. This is ridiculous. Okay. So if you look right here, one of the emails says e-transfer at calgaryunitarians.ca. So we now have the email that they get e-transfers to. I'll explain how that could completely destroy them in a second. But I want you to pay attention to some of the names here. Okay, so Deborah. Okay, adult programs, sketch. There's probably kids in there. I don't trust these guys, clearly. But reassure. What? UCC treasurer? That's interesting. This is revealing information. Refugee. What do you mean refugee? Who are you, refugee? Why would you put your name, your username is that? Office. Okay, now look. Office. Remember one of the usernames that we enumerated was office to that website? Well, now we have the admin's office email. So we have the email to that username office. Now we have the email, which we could send a phishing email to, disguised as WordPress, and say your password has expired. You need to log in below and renew your password. And then it'll ask for him to log in with his normal credentials. And then when he does, then I'll gain access to the website, or the attacker would, metaphorically speaking. Not saying that I am going to try to do that and that I'm trying to gain access, but I'm saying, metaphorically speaking, in the perspective of an attacker, and me right now being the hacker, that's how what would happen. You have to put yourself in the frame of mind of the attacker. When it comes to security penetration testing, you're actually contracted by companies to literally think as a criminal and try to break into these companies and networks, and they'll contract you. They will authorize you and they will pay you. And there's a career involved in this. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing? Right. Join my Patreon course. Learn how to do this stuff so you can have a career doing this stuff legally and ethically. Right. Link to my Patreon in the description, in the post pinned in the comments. Email me. Anyways, so, and we also have a Gmail. Now, that's a whole nother video with the Gmail. I could take that email and we could also find out if its password has been dumped in a database leak, and you'd be surprised. But we have all of the information we would ever need to completely take over this company or entity or their website, and then further hack the individuals that are affiliated or operating this website or company or entity. Because we have their names, we have the usernames, we have emails, and we have entry points to people that control and administrate this company and the website. And we have a personal Gmail. More than that, that's everything you would ever need. So I could go on and on and on, right? But at this point, now the attack would there would be the brute force attack going on in the background to the website, trying to get into the website through brute force. And then I would be constructing, or the attacker would be constructing, an email campaign to go against each one of these emails and each one of the employees, specifically the administrator, which is probably behind this office email right here. And we're seeing, this is crazy. I can't, for a company, this you should, they're doing everything wrong, but you can tell already by what they're doing in general is wrong. So I don't think they care about wrong, to be honest. Now, where can I go from here? What can I show you from here? Let me see what's going on. So, okay, so F Society. This is a tool that you may have seen. It's famous in the movie. How do I not remember Mr. Robot? Right? I know you probably might have heard of that, Mr. Robot. That's the movie or the show on Netflix that is the hackers doing the hacking and shit, right? Which the majority of it is all real. But by the way, Mr. Robot, they're actually using Kali Linux, and they're using tools that are actually used to penetrate networks and devices. They're actually using real methodology and ideology on how these things actually work, but they're obviously leaving a lot of stuff out and they're exaggerating a lot of stuff. Um, but it is the closest thing to the real thing, Mr. Robot. Look it up. If you haven't seen this show on Netflix, it's the real deal. But they use this tool in the movie. So, so with this tool, we have different functionality. We have information gathering. We have password attacks. We have wireless testing, exploitation tools, sniffing and spoofing, web hacking, private web hacking, post exploitation, install and update, blah blah blah. Right? Maybe I should do that. Okay, cool. So self-explanatory. I'll show you a little bit with the password attack situation now. What we could do is we could put the IP address to the website, right, that we found, and it would attack every single open port on that website. But we're not going to do that because that's illegal. But right, what we can do is we can have a look at the Nmap scan. Why is that still going? That's absolutely absurd. That kind of makes me think that they may have some type of Cloudflare protection. And let's say if they did have some type of Cloudflare protection, what we could do is we could use a tool called Cloud Unflare, which will reveal the true IP address of the website and bypass the Cloudflare security protection. Okay, we just got back that Nmap scan. And yeah, it's protected by some type of a Cloudflare security system. So what we could do is bash cloud unflare.bash. See, and that's a bash script, right? Bash cloudflare.bash, because this specific tool is written in bash script. So then we'll give it the website. And it will try and find any other IP addresses connected to any other domains and try to bypass the Cloudflare, but it's not doing that. It's really weird. Why is it doing that with my Nmap scan? I don't know why. Because it doesn't seem like it has Cloudflare, but this, this is the thing about being a hacker. You got to figure all this stuff out, right? But I'm just trying to show you in a real, actual perspective of an attacker. Now, this is really weird, man. This is really interesting because it's saying that it has FTP and it even says logged in, which means that you could log in using the anonymous. It didn't actually log in, it's just saying that it has the ability, you have the ability to log in, probably using the anonymous login, which is like a guest login to the FTP server, which is still bad because then you could gain full up, you could escalate your privileges, gain full access to the FTP server, which means you have full access to the website. And anyway, so I would take this IP address and I would run it, which is not even probably going to run because it looks like it has some type of security or Cloudflare protection. But I'm just showing you how F-Society could work. And you'd run that and it will go to attack FTP, SSH, and all the other ones. Like I said, it didn't want to do that. So they have some type of security blocking that one thing, but that really wouldn't matter anyways because this is the least likely way to gain access to a network or a website if you're going to be trying to get in. This would be another brute force attack to the ports, the open ports on the website connected to the website's IP. So anyways, there's a lot of different things that you can do with F-Society, which is a completely different video. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just showing you the basics and giving you an example of how a company could be infiltrated and then the individuals of that company. And this is just very basic. Like there's levels and levels and levels and levels and levels that I could go into more in depth that would just be completely mind-boggling to you when it comes to OSINT information. Basically like gathering information, right? Information gathering, OSINT. Um, so quickly, oops. So OSINT means open source intelligence. It's the collection, analysis, and dissemination, don't even know how to say that, of information that is publicly available and legally accessible right now. OSINT is used by organizations including governments, businesses, and non-governmental organizations. That's what OSINT is. It's a form of information gathering. So I could go further into that process of OSINT and gain more leverage and information to gain access to this entity or to their website. This is very small, even though this video is getting pretty long. This is very small, basic, not even advanced, So if you're interested in learning more and how you can protect yourself as an individual or an entity or a company or organization, and just learn more about how this stuff works. And if you're interested in the perspective of a career and education and you want to learn this stuff, the proper term is security penetration testing using Kali Linux. You can Google it, you can do whatever you want and learn more about that. And then when you're ready to, start learning this stuff from somebody that you can relate to, that you can level with, then, of course you can say, what, I can do it on my own. I don't need you to help me. But look at everything I just explained to you and broke down to you that would have took you literally 10 years to learn by yourself. Like this took me a long time to learn this and get this good. I'm making it look a lot easier than it is. it, you you're going to be deceiving yourself if you think that you can just do this and you could just be in a month even be doing this starting from this point. You will not be there and you will not be able to figure out how to do these things the way that I'm doing them to the level that I'm doing them for you to even be able to gain access to anything if that you were trying to unlawfully do that. Um, and you're just trying to beat the game and you're not really being serious about it. You think you can just bypass me and learn from me and then go and do this stuff. It's not going to work. Just letting you know. But if you join my Patreon, you join my course, and check out the different packages and stuff like that, I will teach you how to do all this stuff. And in that course, I teach you how to do Android, hacking Android, Windows, Mac OS, Wi-Fi, uh, and so much more, and learn how to protect yourself, right? And when you see how these things work in real life, it becomes more real to you. And then you become more cautious and you become more aware and educated. And that's the reason for me doing these videos and me trying to create this course for people, try to help people. I saw the need because people are running around with their heads chopped off and they don't know what they're talking about and what they're doing. And they think they're hacked, but they're not really hacked. And then if they are, they think they're not. And it's just all backwards and upside down. And you need to stop thinking and actually start knowing because knowledge is power. So that's why I educated myself for the last decade plus, and it took that long to get to this point, even, So, anyways, pretty crazy stuff. If you want to learn more, it goes way deeper than this. Clearly, we just did the forefront of things, the website, and found out, did some enumeration, found out who is behind it. Now it would continue, right? From there, I would try to go after the individuals if I were an attacker through a phishing campaign, which I will make another video showing you how to do that. And even with the phishing email and with links, I could mask the URL to literally say google.com or youtube.com or the name of their rental management's website.com or their employer's their job, they work at, carwashers.com. And I could make it come from that domain and literally say, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way to determine, right? Um, and then when they click it, it'll get them to log in to their employee login or through their Gmail or through their email, Hotmail or Discord or any account. Doesn't matter, right? I could clone any login page that I wanted to, and then we would try that a phishing attack, and then from there we would try to find personal information on the person and try to pose as an entity or an individual or a company or their employer, whatever, to send them a file based off of what phone they're using. Once we get them to click a link, we'll find out what device they're using, and then we can further our attack. If they're using an Android phone, now we can make a fake Android application disguised as a PDF or disguised as an app that they already are interested in because they've been posting about it on Facebook. Or maybe it's their employer sending them a new app that they need all their employees to download for security purposes. You see what I'm saying? Like, it can get deep and it can get technical and hectic, right? So, and then boom, they download that. We have full access to the phone, the camera, the audio on the phone. We can download and dump all the SMS, text messages, call logs, um, contacts, download anything from the phone. We can even upload files to the phone. You can do anything. So, and that's just a phone, not to mention laptops and things of that nature, right? That's even scarier. Um, but anyways, so then, once you have infiltrated an individual of that company, well, now you have access to all the admin panels of that company because that employee is going to log in into the admin panels and the administrator is going to log in. And now you're going to gain all those credentials and you have full access to that company, to the website, to their networks, to their employees, to their clients. Now you have the client's private information, maybe their credit card collection, everyone that's purchased with them has a record of their credit card. Now you have everything, right? That's how real this can get, how deep it can go, and how far it can go. So this is why I educate people on this stuff, right? Anyways, if you're interested, click the link in the description or the comments, pinned in the comments, or email me at defeatgangstalking@gmail.com is one of the emails, or you can email me at learnhowtohackin10minutes at gmail.com. Minutes as in MINS, mins, short form for minutes. Uh, yeah, so just reach out to me and check out my course. And when you go to the Patreon, you can actually preview some of the videos that are there. You can see the structure, and it's video content, but you'll also be able to message me and talk to me in there, and I'll communicate with you because you have showed me your effort and you've put in your part. And this is why I'm giving this content out for free, is because this takes energy and time. It's time consuming. It's exhausting, and I need to be I need to be paid for that in whichever way that is, right? Like whether that's your effort back or whatnot, right? So that's how I set up my system. It also filters out bad guys that are just trying to use me for information that don't really support me or support my community of people, the TI community, and so on and so forth, right? So I don't want to give this information to those people. And when they sign up, I have the ability to filter out certain people or identify people's intent, you know what I'm saying? And go from there, right? But yeah, the people that are serious are going to sign up to my Patreon and join my Patreon. And yeah, it's a paid service. There's three different packages. One is the basic, the next one is the standard, and the last one is the advanced. And there's a description for each one of those to let you know what that comes with and what you're going to get with that. And the basic one is just $50, right? And the advanced goes all the way up to $200. So, and you're gonna see what you get with that, and it's worth more than what I'm pricing it at. Obviously, if you're really paying attention here. Um, and this is nothing what I just showed you and what I'm talking about. Some might think, oh, I already know all this stuff. Well, you, I guarantee you don't, and there's a lot that you don't know. Now, I could get into now. I'll add this really quickly. Kali Linux has the ability to literally there's tools in Kali Linux that could be used to hack Tesla cars, radio frequency hacking, or blocking frequencies, right? When it comes to certain, frequencies, you can jam the frequencies and stuff like that. You can copy them, identify them, like radio waves, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and other radio wave sources and frequencies and stuff. And you have the ability to literally hack into Teslas. And when somebody like unlocks their car, that signal that comes from their device, you can jam it, block it from reaching the car, copy it, and then you can play it back to the vehicle and unlock the door. And you can also use that same strategy to start the vehicle. So yeah, I know how to do stuff like that as well. So it goes very far up the spectrum of what's possible, which is anything is possible. um, I know how to hack drones out of the sky, literally, because they use a Wi-Fi signal. Um, and you could intercept that. You could brute force into that drone while it's flying and then gain access to it, force it to come to you, or make it fall out of the sky, whatever. Um, just metaphorically speaking, I'm not saying that any of these things you can do. I'm not advocating for them. I'm just saying from the perspective of an attacker what is possible. I'm not saying that you should go and do these things. Like I said, it's illegal, right? But you're allowed to do them on your own devices, on your own drone, on your own phone, on your own network, on your own Wi-Fi. And I teach you how to secure all those things as well. But it goes very far. It goes very deep. So you're going to be learning a lot. So hit me up. Join Patreon. Whoever joins the Patreon right away, I'm going to see that you did that. I'm going to know you're serious, and you're going to be the first person I contact. Anyways, I'm out.